Besides sending the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a hearse.
Hello, Billy Ho here. Week 17, NFL, main slate Sunday, New Year's Day. We are going to talk injuries and some matchups. I don't have a whole lot for you. The one thing I do have is the weather. I saw a lot of showers on the East Coast, in like all the way up to New England and in between Washington and Philadelphia and whatnot. Everything looks clear now. Comfortable temperatures. I think Green Bay might even be the coldest, and they're 37, which is like a heat wave in Green Bay this time of year. So we're not worried about the weather. Not very. I think there was one. I believe New England. Keep an eye on that one because I think there might be some gusty winds on Sunday, maybe 20, 25-mile-an-hour gusts. So keep an eye on the New England game, Miami. But we're going to go back in order and break down everything that's a little bit different from the 10 games I mentioned in the previous video. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. The first game was Atlanta hosting the Arizona Cardinals. The news there is Colt McCoy has cleared concussion protocol. He will start. So this game actually got a little bit more appealing to me because McSorley is not going to be missed. Sorely. Sort of. Anyway, the Riddler versus the Colt. And we're going to go at it. Both got good run games. The couple of things that I was fooling around with was playing mini stacks where I would just take Connor and then I'd go over here and I'd take London. And then I thought, well, if Arizona runs all over them, Atlanta's going to have to pass and vice versa. Algier gets down like 4 flat tires. Then you can go back over here and maybe play, I don't know, DeAndre Hopkins, who gets double-digit targets when Colt McCoy is the quarterback. So I'm not afraid to play Hopkins. I think he has a nice 8 for 70 floor, where he's going to be like 15 DraftKings points or so. And if he gets in the end zone, then he pays off 7,700. And he might even score twice. You never know. But I like Hopkins. You could play Hopkins and London together. There's a lot of different variations to this game you can do. You can stack if you wanted to. If you think this game has sneaky shootout potential, nobody's going to stack McCoy or Ritter. So you can run that route if you want to. Other than that, Dortch is still the cheap option down there. I don't think I fully trust Hollywood Brown, even though 5,500 is a good price. He could have a ceiling game this week, and he is cheap. But enough of that game. The big news was McCoy getting cleared. This game, I don't believe a whole lot has changed. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go to the Miami New England game. Let's take a look at that one real quick. I want to go in the same order I went last video. So Miami, New England, and Tua is out, concussion protocol. We're getting Teddy with the 1-2 checker, Teddy Bridgewater. And then we got that makes Hill and Waddle less appealing to me. I like Teddy, but he could. That's a tough call. I mean, it's New England has been one of the best defensive teams all year long, and they're at home. They're going to take somebody away. Bridgewater is just not as good as Tua. I mean, period. So that I'm gonna have a tough time with this one. Jacoby Myers and I think Ramondre. I actually kind of like the little old school stack of a running back in the defensive team. These Dolphins defense, they have really, really racked up some points. Oh, not Dolphins. I'm sorry. Patriots. They're cheaper. 14, 11, 20. I mean, that Buffalo, but they're not playing Buffalo. They're playing a backup quarterback. They're not playing Minnesota with Justin Jefferson. They're playing guys like the Jets and the Colts. I mean, they have gotten some big games. They lead the league in, I think, defensive scores. So I'm digging them. But other than that, Myers, Stevenson, Damian Harris, keep an eye on him. We're still not 100% sure he's playing. So keep an eye on that one. Now over to Chicago, Detroit, as promised. This is probably the best game to stack as far as most upside. You can go either way with it. I've been doing Fields. I've been paying up for him at 7,900. Detroit, you just saw what Carolina did to Detroit last week with two different running backs. So that, I mean, Fields could just run all over this Detroit team, and this is probably his last game of the season. Maybe I don't know. They're talking about shutting guys down, but he needs just like a couple more 100 yards to break Lamar Jackson's quarterback rushing record. So things like that are important. So he's got all off season to get healthy. So golf or Fields, either one's fine. The running backs, I mean, if you're playing golf, you run it back with Monty. That's perfectly fine because Monty could have a huge day. The other guy I do like down here is Khalil Herbert, who got like 20 snaps or so. He's back up to his normal snap count in this game. And like I said, two running backs, nothing wrong with Herbert. If he could get double digits in the touch category and catch some passes out of the backfield, he's paying that 4K salary off in a heartbeat. And obviously, I'm going to probably try out Swift. I'm not going to go as heavy as last time. But St. Brown, every golf stack should have St. Brown in it. Just plug and play. Tight end wise, Cole Kmet could be in line for a huge day. So Fields with running quarterbacks, I generally don't double stack them. I usually single stack them. And with a guy like Fields, it's Fields and Kmet, and you're good to go. Keep an eye on Claypool, might be all right, but he hasn't really shown much of anything since he's been with the Bears. It's hard to play. I mean, you've got the St. Brown brothers going head to head. I think Equinemius will clear limited Thursday, but I think he'll clear. So I don't know if he's going to want to show up his brother or not. But this game is going to be a great game. So make sure you get pieces of it if you're not stacking it. You want no more than one guy from each side in this game. I think you could go St. Brown and Monty, St. Brown and Herbert, St. Brown and Kmet. Just get a piece of that game because they're going to score 50. All right. Now, next game I wanted to talk about is let's jump down to Minnesota Green Bay. It's going to be good weather for Green Bay this time of year. I made I'm not going to call it a mistake yet. I played Dak over Cousins. I was asking around about it. I took a shot. If Dak doesn't do Dak things and turn the ball over 3 times, he throws for 301 because he only had 282 with the 3 turnovers. And then he probably has one more touchdown. So I'm looking at 30 plus points. So it was worth the risk. It should have been there. It just didn't happen. They do their thing. They shoot themselves in the foot. I should have took that into account, but I didn't. Anyway, I really like the way this Green Bay defensive team showed up in the second half of that game on Christmas against Miami Dolphins and Tyreek Hill and Waddle and all that company. They really shut them down in the second half. I think that it's going to be a different story. Not like Jefferson's not going to catch, he's not going 12 for 133. I don't think he gets the 30-point game, but I could see 7 for in the touchdown. I could see 18 to 20 points, but at 9,500, that's not going to get it done. So I'm going to be lighter on Justin Jefferson just for that fact alone. I think maybe Osborne might get a few more looks thrown his way if they're really throwing the coverage over to Jefferson. I think Osborne can run around out of the slot and get open in the middle. The big news for the Green Bay side is Christian Watson with the hip is still not practicing. So Lazard and Dobbs, I like Dobbs better because he's cheaper and he's going to get exponentially increased snaps he'll just come right in and take the Watson snaps. So instead of him getting like 30, 25, 30 snaps, he's going to get 50. So that's just going to give him more opportunities without Watson in there. They're going to throw on Minnesota. Dobbs has just as much upside, TD, everything else as Lazard, and he's, 700 cheaper. And neither one of them are going to be very highly owned. I mean, people are going to stack this game. They're probably going to try Cousins, and they'll get pieces. The running game might be all right. Aaron Jones, I didn't. I was going to mention this. Aaron Jones, even if Aaron Jones plays, Aaron Jones gets injured and leaves games. So if Dylan might even be a better play at lower ownership if Jones is in there, because I still think Jones is a extremely risky play. You can run on Green Bay, so Dalvin Cook might be all right. But not much has changed as far as my mind here in this game. It's definitely a game you're going to want something of. But I think Dobbs is not bad. Dobbs and KJ Osborne or something, just to go cheap on it and then spend your money elsewhere. This New Orleans and Philly game, we're still not out of the weeds yet. We got questionable tags on guys like Kamara and Sanders. We'll just have to keep an eye on them. It might not be that big of a deal. Kamara quads, personal reasons. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to see. Keep an eye on these guys. That's the only thing I can tell you. Hurts, I think they can beat New Orleans without Hurts, to be honest with you. If you got Minshew, this is going to be a tough game to go with AJ Brown. Olave's dinged up. Whole bunch of people. I do like Shaheed as even if Olave plays, Shaheed is going to be a one-off for me. So I do try to avoid this game. Devontae is getting up there in price, but he's getting a lot of targets. He's starting to really come into his own. But that game against Dallas was a shootout last week. This game might be 17-9. So I don't know. This game might be a little bit on the avoid side for me. I'm not really looking to get into it too heavily. But the next game I think I find interesting is going to be San Francisco at Las Vegas. Las Vegas, I don't know if they're mailing it in, but they're benching Derek Carr and playing Jarrett Stidham. The only stat I have for Jarrett Stidham is we share the same birthday, August 8th. So Stidham has thrown 6 passes this year. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't care. The only thing I care about is probably the San Francisco side. You can stack Purdy and McCaffrey. You could go Ayuk. You can go Kittle. It's McCaffrey. The skill players are McCaffrey, Kittle, and Ayuk. Ayuk is the most low key. Kittle is still affordable. He might be popular now that he's had back-to-back big games. People are starting to believe in him again. I'm not playing Josh Jacobs. He's been going downhill ever since that big week 12. If I had to run him back on a stack or something on the other side, it might be Waller or it might be somebody like Renfro. And that's just kind of like a cashy type, like he's going to catch 4 for 40 and hope he gets in the end zone. But I don't really much care for too much Las Vegas. Debo, keep an eye on. I think he's practicing in a limited capacity. I'm going to believe it when I see it with him. I don't think he plays right now, but that's the only other one. I think it's a smash spot for San Francisco. I think they can win this game 35-17, and Purdy could throw for 3 touchdowns easily, and McCaffrey could break the slate. So I'm going to have a lot of exposure to McCaffrey. I'm going him over Jefferson. It's a $500 discount, and I think he's got a bigger upside. He's got a better matchup, and the volume's obviously there. He can get you from all angles, receptions and rushing. So I definitely prefer him over Jefferson. Now, if we get off of San Francisco and we hit this Jacksonville and excuse me, there it is. Jacksonville and Houston at Houston. Doug Peterson came out and said, we don't rest players. We're playing every game's important. We go to win every game, so we're getting her done. That's good news because now you got your Trevor Lawrence's back. Uh, and he's had this questionable tag for 3 weeks with the toe. I think he's just fine. Etienne is going to be a highly owned running back, but he's got a lot of upside in this game. As you know, we've been picking on Houston run D for a while now. Nobody the other way. Wide receivers, Kirk and Jones, Brandon Cooks are all in play. I think Brandon Cooks missed practice for personal reasons, and that I don't know what that means. He's had some issues ever since he didn't get traded a few months back and has missed some games with some injuries. I think he's had some rift with the management. So him missing for personal reasons, hopefully it's not personal against the team. Hopefully it's just in his personal life. And hopefully, it's not anything serious. But I still like Kirk to have a bounce back week. 6K is a very fair price. So if you're going Lawrence, Lawrence Kirk Jones, Lawrence Kirk Ingram, rotate in that fashion, and then you run it back with Cooks or Chris Moore. I prefer Cooks. I think he's got the most upside. This is the type of game where he can get 10 to 15 targets easily and pay off a 4,800 tag. So I'm digging him. The next game I wanted to discuss, Denver, Kansas City. Interesting game. We already know the story with Mahomes and Kelsey. They're almost too expensive to stack together. Play Mahomes naked, and hopefully he throws 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers, and that's what you can do there. Or you can pair him with a running back. Pacheco is 5,600. They could run. I believe Wilson's going to be good to go. All the wide receivers for Denver are banged up. That's a problem. Judy, Sutton, and Hinton all banged up. Keep an eye on them. I think Tony might be slightly sneaky. They might want to get him more involved, pushing toward the playoffs. I'll have to go look at his snap counts, but he got the 1 touchdown. So that's pure dart throwing. But this game is going to be very, very difficult for me to stack. If I had the salary, maybe I just play a naked Mahomes, and if he does, and maybe he runs, maybe he gets those 5 touchdowns and he has 2 rushing. That's what you're looking for. So I don't know. Tough call. Next game, we're going to finish up here. Cleveland, Washington. The weather looks good. Wentz's last stand. I do believe that Gibson is out. Okay, so that makes Brian Robinson a very intriguing play. With McKissick on IR, he's going to get all the work. So, but is he going to get 22 for 58 and squad douche? I kind of like it. I kind of like them to throw more now that Gibson's out because they're just going to, you can't just pound Brian Robinson 95 times. So they're going to throw. And then you got my man Dotson and you got Samuel, you got McLaurin, Cooper's banged up, Peoples Jones they're all good. This is mini stack time. You can just do Dotson and Peoples Jones and walk away. Or, you can, I just don't think I can go Chubb. I do like the both Browns and Commanders defenses because Wentz, you already know Wentz throws interceptions. So either one of those defenses are fine too. But not a lot of time. We all know what we're facing in that game. There's nothing sneaky there. The pay down for the wide receivers, and then just move on. Mini stacks. The last game that's intriguing is an afternoon game. And, we already know Mike White's back. So we can go him and Garrett Wilson and very, very cheap Corey Davis. Not a whole lot has changed. I believe that Walker is probably going to play. The questionable tag, he's with the ankle. Keep an eye on it. Inactives come out. It's an afternoon game. So if you got these guys in season long, it's going to be tough. The whole team's banged up. Seattle's almost done. They've just exhausted all their willpowers. Metcalf is still going to be the guy standing. I don't think Lockett plays, but keep an eye on it. Goodwin, obviously questionable with that wrist. And you know, you can still play the Jets at 2,800. They're always perpetually underpriced for the way they get after the quarterback. And then Knight and Carter, those two are interesting plays at running back. Carter's for the more receiving upside, Knight for the touchdowns. So we'll leave it at that. I think that there's a lot to do uh, this weekend as far as grinding it out. But I appreciate you all watching, and go Cats! Beat them Cardinals tomorrow. Big rivalry week here at the hometown. Plus, we got the bowl games all weekend. Enjoy. Have a happy New Year. Shout out to the Discord, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.